Okay, today we're going to talk about the inverted yield curve, which is inverted not once, not twice, but 3 times, which means the recession is on lock. The recession is going to happen. We are already in a recession if you didn't know. And one of the things that you've got to do is start taking steps to prepare yourself. Now, we're not in a full-blown recession yet. We're not feeling what we felt in 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010. But I want you to think, what's going to save us? What is going to keep our hind parts out of the fire? I mean, you got to ask yourself, what's going to do that? What's going to, because we're going to talk about recessionary protocols. And this is a follow-up on some of the things I brought up last night. You got to start managing your money, man. You can't spend all your money. You can't walk around broke. You can't do it. So one of the things that you got to do is get on top of your money. And also manage your money very well. Then also make more money. Believe it or not, you can make a lot of money in the recession. But once again, you got to be clean and lean. I did a study of all the people who had a lot of property during the last recession. And there are some of them who came out stronger. But these were not the people who were leveraged to their teeth. Like, state of Illinois just made it illegal to do wholesaling without a license. Expect more of that kind of action to be coming. See, anything that somebody can take some esoteric knowledge and make a lot of money, that's in harm's way. They're going to try to get rid of that. So one of the things that you got to do is look where you're strong. I get people on this channel all the time. They're like, hey, Glendon, what business should I go into? Is this a good look or is that a good look? Stop looking like that. Look with your heart. Look with your interest. Find something that interests you, because here's the truth of the matter about making money. It's hard. But see, this is what happens. Like doing this YouTube thing, creating courses, it was extremely hard for me 2009, 2010, 2011. The difficulty of creating an online brand and deploying courses has actually gotten harder because there's more competition. But it seems easy because I've gotten stronger. See, 225 pounds doesn't become light. You just become stronger. So many of you are going to have to become stronger than you currently are to make this money, to get this Wi-Fi bread online. So one of the things that you have got to do is balance out your budget. If you married to a wife named Susie, you got 2.5 kids, you live in the house, you got 2 car notes, you got a mortgage, you're going to have to cut some of that leverage off. My recommendation to you and your wife, Susie, is to sell both of those cars. They have car payments on them, and get yourself 2 cars paid for cash. And, if you want to get really aggressive, if you can get rid of the house, get rid of the house. You want to lean out, because those who have cash when most people don't have cash will be kings. They will rule. They will rule the land. And I want you to think, your $30,000 in the bank right now, during the recession, that's going to be like $300K. So the more money you got put away, the more money that you got set up, the more that you will be able to enrich yourself during this recession. Let's be really, really clear. Trump talking trash. Well, the media is trying to make a recession. No, fool. Economic indicators. The yield curve is inverted not once, twice, but 3 times. They're trying to prop it up to get him in so he can win this re-election. Because this is probably the only thing that will stop Trump from being reelected is a bad economy. And if it goes down the way that I think it will, where people will be tangibly hurt, tangibly harmed, he ain't going to win. So, from an economic standpoint, because, first, if almost like last year, I was talking about get ready for the recession, get ready for the recession. That was just so you guys could get your acts together. Now, it's the fourth quarter on this. We doing this. It's the fourth quarter. You have very limited time to get yourself together. So you're going to have to start making some aggressive moves. Let's see. What's up, Chris Monroe? I don't think there'll be another real estate crash like 2008 because the 2008 recession was based upon real estate. And this one is probably going to be on credit swaps, student loans, and other things. All right, hustle that furniture. D-Nice, Google wholesale, Google real estate wholesaling. Your boy Rich, pay off those debts. Absolutely. What's up, Mag 287? Yes, we must become stronger. Increase assets and delete liabilities. All right, Mag, you build that empire. Will gold be just as good as cash? No. Guns and ammo will be worth more than gold and silver. Praz Autos, start a business. D-Nice, I'm saying if you got $30,000 cash in the bank, when this recession gets going, that $30,000 will be like having $300,000. Because what happens in the recession? People pull back. People stop spending money. So your dollar goes much further in the recession than it does at any other point in the economy. Hey, Glenn, is it possible to get CDs, certificates of deposit? Yeah. I mean, this is what's happening, man, because the thing is, once again, you and your wife, Susie, you guys want to get as lean as possible, have, as your boy Rich said, pay off your debts. Because you want to be lean going into this recession. You want to be in tip-top fighting shape. You want to be cut. You want to be running those 4-minute miles. You want to be so tight and nimble that you can pop out. Because the thing is, if you have money and the ability to generate money during the recession, you're going to be in such a good position. Peace, King Paul Perez. Will it still be beneficial during the recession to use business credit to purchase income-producing assets, trucking, and real estates? Paul, if your financial profile is not top-notch, you ain't going to be able to get no business credit. Let me tell you what happened to my business credit. I had a Home Depot credit card with a $100,000 limit, no PG, nothing. When the economy turned south, I got a letter from Home Depot saying that this card was canceled. Fortunately, I had no debt on it. So only the people with the top credit, the 750 to 800 people, they're going to be the only people who can float some business credit and business loans, because the credit underwriting guidelines are going to be super tight. So it's going to be hard for you to get business credit unless you fit that profile. Like I got a Chase card that I'm about to start moving a lot of my spend on to adjust my credit profile to a high spender and consistently pay that off so they don't cram down my credit limit. Because if you do not demonstrate ability to repay, they're going to cut your credit limit. It's called a cram down. So if you got a credit profile that you're not really using, then all of a sudden you start using massive amounts of your credit. This is going to send a signal to your other creditors that something unusual is going on. And what they're going to do is like, we're going to play this safe. We're going to cut this fool's credit limits. So no. I mean, if you in a position where you can get business credit, yeah, man. Chris Monroe, I just bought, the guns and stuff are going to be worth way more than gold. Can you quickly explain how firearms would be more valuable than gold? Utility. During the great collapse of Argentina and the other country, Bosnia, everything collapsed and people got desperate. And the people who had gold and silver, they got robbed by the people who had guns and ammo. Because people going to get desperate. They're going to be going into the neighborhoods of the folks who got money, and they're going to be trying to stick them for their paper. So a gun that's like $300 now, a gun's going to be $2,500 when shit hits the fan. That's how guns are going to be more valuable than gold. And because a gun has utility, protection, you can hunt with it. Gold and silver, you go take that gold bar to the grocery store. I want some milk. Here's my gold bar. They ain't going to work. Stack to flip, a real estate market is already slowing down. My friend, who's a project manager for a builder, just got laid off after 8 years of working. There you go. I don't think it's going to be real estate, but real estate will be impacted. Paul Perez, they got a 785 credit score with 66K in business credit at the moment. I want to pull the trigger. Been a little difficult finding real estate deals because the market is too high. Paul Perez, what you're going to have to do is 10X it and 20X it. You're going to have to fill up your pipeline with deals where when shit falls out, you won't even notice it. A few people made a lot of money on the great collapse. Oh, yeah. You're going to be able to make some money, man, if you are positioned. Because the whole thing is positioning. You got to be positioned. Because if you're not positioned, this thing going to miss you. Will a social marketing media agency become less and more profitable during the recession? What's going to happen is many of these agencies are going to close because marketing spend will be drastically reduced. And if you like a pro, if you're a great agency with a great reputation and you stroking it out, yeah. But all these low social media marketing, hey man, I run Facebook ad. A lot of them going to go under. They're going to lose business. This is true. I keep hearing people telling me how their credit cards limits can't be increased. Just look at what happened during the last recession. And the banks have data, and the banks have algorithms on who's going to be late. So your ability to repay is going to come up deeply in this. Sure, S. Dot. It's going to be worse off for the unprepared. There will be some employees who will be prepared, and there will be some business owners. Because if you run in a business and you got a lot of debt and you having problems paying your bills now, whoa, Nelly, it ain't gonna get any better. You need guns out here. You got cats stealing other musicians' instruments to sell them to make money. Expat crypto. Guns will be valuable, like that guy on the Titanic to try to pay his way onto a lifeboat. Money is worthless then. Yeah, because I mean, essentially, you guys got to be lean. Because I'm telling you, this is what I am doing. I have no personal or even business debt at the moment. I took out a PayPal because whenever they offer me one of these PayPal loans, I always take it because it reduces what PayPal reports to the Internal Revenue Service. So other than that, which is now like 5,000, which I could pay off. I got the money in the bank. So that's pretty much my debt profile, and I plan on keeping it that way for the next 2 to 3 years, because leverage is good in good times, and then leverage is a nightmare in bad times, because all this money, all these credit card offers, they're going to drop. It's going to be like someone just turned the water off. All right, Paul. Man, people have been stealing tools and equipment like crazy here. Specializing in a niche in marketing will make you recession proof. Could be, because the whole plan is, I've studied businesses. Wells Fargo grew to be one of the country's largest banks during the Great Recession, during the Great Depression, because they had the money to buy these defunct thrifts. So they were buying all these other banks up, because he who has money when most folks don't is king. And that's why I'm trying to tell you, you need some cash money. I've been focusing on increasing cash flow. You think that's better than stacking? Do both. That's what I'm doing. I'm increasing my cash flow and I'm stacking cash. The best of both worlds. Praz Autos, one more G for you. If I may have been living this gas go lifestyle, meaning no car notes, definitely had enough for a few steaks and shakes, but you can't own them. They can't take it from you. Praz Autos, you know how to run a franchise. A jeweler once said the higher the price of gold goes up, the closer we are to a recession. Gold is running a record high right now. Your boy Rich, if you don't have a debt-free business producing a positive income, you will drown. Possibly, because there are some people who are leveraged, but they're going to have really good cash flow, so they're going to be able to pay their bills. But I'm telling you, you and your wife and Susie, y'all need to get rid of those car notes. If that, you can get rid of that mortgage and lean out, because if you get rid of it now, you'll be able to get all that stuff back cheaper during the recession. Credit for 100% payments on time with a through-the-roof FICO. What happens when the relative asking you for $1,400 a month for rent? I can't hear you, man. What you say? Hey, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. That's what I would be saying. I don't loan money. I'm not a bank. All right, Linfield Moss, working on that. Because the yield curve, which has predicted the most recent recessions, and right now you got the comments, it's like, yeah, you know, it's inverted, but it ain't really a great predictor. You can tell by the way that people talk if they're for Trump or not. And Trump is this great dividing force. Either you love Trump or you hate him. There ain't no middle ground. And these people like, and the Trump's tariffs, he delayed the tariffs until after the holidays because he knew that, it's like, oh, this is hurting Americans. And a lot of the people who voted for him, the coal miners are turning against him, the truckers are turning against him, the farmers were losing money. They were suffering on the verge of bankruptcy, and they still like, well, I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. And it took them almost losing their farm, or in many cases losing the farm, for them to go, that was a bad vote. Stupidity. I know, man, Chris Monroe, that I always tell people, if you're gonna store some stuff, store it for 6 months. If you store stuff for years, you've paid for it 2, 3, 4 times. I mean, people better be getting ready, man, because this thing is serious. Because the recession is on lock. It's going to happen. And all of the talking heads and stuff, and already, I got truck drivers who watch this channel who say that they're having a problem getting loads. Their miles are being reduced. We've had all of these retail stores close. We're getting people in cross sectors getting laid off. The heat's turning up, man. And the heat's going to keep going up. It's going to keep going up. I'm really going to be surprised to see what happens at Christmas. Trump is teaching us to be independent, which we should have been on in the first place. Trump is teaching us a lot of craziness. A lot of craziness, because when you get an economic indicator like the yield curve inverting not once, not twice, but 3 times, can I get a hello? You pay attention to that, because they're like, because you got some people talking it down like it ain't that big of an indicator. It could be a false positive. There's too many other signs. If it was just the indicator, like, this is a big sign that the economy is in trouble. People who are looking for full-time employment are struggling to find full-time employment. You can get 2 or 3 or 4 part-time jobs and run yourself ragged trying to work them, because they have this scheduling software that demands that you commit to so many hours. So you can only work 1 or 2 of these little trashy little jobs. I mean, that's the only thing that's going to bring Trump. That's going to be the only reason that Trump will not be reelected, that if the economy is in a recession. Ed Stott, what's your views on central banks like the Federal Reserve and their impacts on the economy? The quantitative easing that took place a decade ago may be coming back to haunt us. What I think is the United States should have did what Canada did. Canada was in the same place that we did, and they took their lumps. They went ahead, got their bills paid. They had a very lackluster decade, and now they humming. The quantitative easing, you can only kick the can down the road for so long before down the road becomes today. And we're getting to that point of reckoning, because we don't have enough money to pay our bills as a country. That's a scary thought. And you got all these people in there who's like doing this, talking about universal basic income. Where's the money coming from? And sooner or later, America's going to have to say, we're going to do the right thing. What's up, Ben the bartender? Because essentially, what you want to do, and here are the steps to survive in this recession. You want to lean out, get your monthly bills low as possible, where your cost of living is of little consequence to your income. You want to get your cost of living 10% of your income. Then you want to take your income, bank it, stack it, and then you want to start you a small business. and because you want to manage the money you have, and then you want to make more money. Because there will be many businesses that will start during this recession that will grow. Your boy Rich, the happy-go-lucky people will eat the shit when it hits the fan because most of them have student loans and live in boxes and also trust everything the government says. The student loan people, they're in trouble. Matthew Love there. Do you think the info products industry will be hit hard, drastically less sales, ebooks, and courses? No. People are going to be searching for, well, not for me. People will be searching for how to make more money, and that's what I teach. The last recession, I had a product that sold $1 million, $1.5 million in 1 year because it taught people how to make money. So for me, this recession is going to increase my business cash flow, and no, just depends on what you sell. Well, I know, Mag, and sooner or later, people going to have to take that bitter pill. Sooner or later, it's going to happen. Spencer Carr, no country will ever have the money to pay all their debt. That's just how debt-based fiat works. I would disagree with that. If we would stop having all these unnecessary wars, and if we would start spending money where we need to spend money, this country could be out of debt in probably a decade. But we keep having all these unnecessary wars. All of these, these wars cost billions and billions of dollars. Billions and billions of dollars on bombs. I mean, some of these bombs, they're $3 and $4 million per bomb. So the industrial defense complex gets richer. But Quentin Jackson, seems like a lot of the millennials want all these free programs. They need it to be free. This is how the real estate market's being impacted right now. During, your parents' day, they were building all these golf communities with these big old houses on these golf courses. And they've been losing value. They've been sitting. Golf courses have been closing because, millennials aren't golfing and millennials don't have the money to buy these big houses. And one of the things I've noticed in my neighborhood is a lot of these houses that sold for $1 million, well over a decade ago or two, they haven't appreciated much. That's how I got a deal on this house. I mean, they tried to sell it for $1 million and couldn't do it. They had to drop the price $150K. So higher end real estate in most places that are not New York, California, Vegas, South Beach, it ain't appreciating. And unless you're selling these high-end luxury properties, people don't have the money to buy these houses. Takia CC over there. Our politicians and our military addicted to spending money we really don't have. Our government is like a gold digger with a credit card. Pretty much. Man, the student loan pain is real. And this is going to catch a lot of people because you can't BK out of student loans. Debt will hunt you till you die. The student loan repayment program in the Army helped me. Cool. Hard breakdown. The Federal Reserve System doesn't allow us to ever be out of debt because we borrow the money into existence. It's messed up. A government should print its own money and never have to go into debt. That's what's happened in Charleston. We have many $1 million resort and golfing houses. New Yorker and New Jersey people are buying them up. Yeah, I mean, because the people who live there don't have the income to buy these houses. I got a friend that lives in Charleston. Beautiful place. And there's a lot of old money there because the old money owns these docks and the where all the stuff, all these imports come through. Because if you didn't know, Charleston has a serious busy ass port. BMW picked the state of South Carolina because of those ports to build their factory. Expat crypto, I'm thinking about that. This is why I'm so upset with what happened to Money, Income, and Profit, because I have my Stripe account hooked up to that and I can do monthly access to it, but it's jacked up. So I'm working with a Kajabi site, so we will see. Bernie Sanders is trying to remove all student loan debt. He's just saying what people want to hear. Because somebody's got to pay those loans because that money did not come out of thin air. South Carolina also has Boeing. I think they also have Mercedes. Alabama has Mercedes. There's a reason that these European car companies built factories in the South, cheap land, high tax concessions, and, a workforce. That's true. From Charleston, the river from Charleston runs all the way through the state. Yeah, that port. If you look at how America was formed: Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, all these big cities, they're near rivers and oceans. New York, ocean. Chicago, Lake Michigan. All these big cities got built upon ports for commerce. And if you look at the poorer states, there ain't no ports. SDOT, I don't think that's going to happen. I Carver Tigno. Most millennials rather live in an apartment or condo, so don't have to worry about yard work. Who's paying these disabled veteran loans Trump just forgiven? Don't know. This is my first to hearing about it. Rivers, oceans, and railroads. Pretty much. Your boy Rich, I know people that owe $250K in student loan debt and only make $60 to $80K, and Bernie Sanders is going off your feelings just to get elected. Your debt will not go away. You can't file bankruptcy. Pretty much. Because somebody at the end of the day has got to be responsible for this debt. My mother is from Charleston. She had a house here in New York. When she retired, she went back to Charleston and bought a big, huge house land, what you can't get here in New York City. In Texas, all cities starts on rivers: San Antonio, Austin, Texas, Houston, Dallas, downtown water. Because if you look how the country was formed in the cities and go back, it was formed where they had docks, rivers, where, they had points of commerce. And that's how these cities grew to be so big. In places that are, really poor and didn't grow, they didn't have the natural resources of a dock or a river. And this is why many of these places are still poor to this day, like Alabama. In Alabama, at one point, Birmingham had the natural resources of iron ore, coal, and steel ore. So, but then cheap Japanese steel knocked them out the frame. Malachi Stafford, that's why I didn't go to school. Student loans are not worth it if you can't get that knowledge somewhere else for 10 times cheaper. I didn't know you could bankrupt out of student loan debt. That's interesting. Shabazz Enterprises. It's great to see you on live stream and invest money in these top companies: Boeing, Lockheed Martin, Apple. I'm building an investment company. Hey, make your money work for you. Student loans are sharecropping 2.0. That's crazy. So one of the things that you got to look at, because we here, man, I don't care what Trump says. I don't care what his sycophants say. We are having a recession. And you can still got time to do certain things to position yourself to make money. Pretty much be real. Eric Dorsey worked at BMW South Carolina for 18 years, exports more than 60%. Yep, it killed. I was growing up during that time. And one of the reasons I didn't want to go in the steel mill or the coal mines is I watched the news. 13 miners trapped. Cave in at the Silicago mine. Cave in. 30 miners trapped. Let's pray for them. I saw this all the time as a kid. I was like, you ain't getting me in these mines. Oh, definitely recession in his house. The average student loan is $20,000. You could pay $150 every month for 10 years and you'd be done. You don't have $37 a week. Your life needs fixing. Erica getting rough and rugged with these people. I mean, it's true. But see, this goes back to what I was talking about last night. People don't want to use their own money for bills. They'll use their money to take a vacation. They'll use their money to buy some Louis Vuitton or some True Religion jeans. But people feel punished and penalized for having to use their own damn money to handle their life. That's why they want to put it on a credit card. This is why they want to take a loan out. People are addicted to using their own money. And this is what I'm saying. Start small. And you start using your own money. Dudes were losing fingers in the mine. I saw a lot of men in the neighborhood missing fingers. It's crazy how much stuff was going down. What people were getting into, how people were losing fingers. So many things were happening. All right. So this is how I'm going to help you guys get ready for the recession. Money management's the basics of finance and wealth development. You can get this at hustlerkungfulifeskills.com. Get this course. Get this course because it will prep you for making more money. I go through all of the reasons that people are broke. I go through the addictive, credit-based American lifestyle where people will go into debt for the simplest things because they're not accustomed to making, generating, and spending their own money. They just ain't. And once again, you're talking to an individual who is organically funded. And this is something that people don't talk about because it's like, this is why wholesaling took off so quick. All you had to have was the knowledge to put a seller and a buyer together and act as a middleman. And, you had people make millions of dollars off of wholesaling and they didn't have to invest a penny. It was only a matter of time before they disturbed that groove. Going forward, you're going to need to be able to generate your own money to invest and to build businesses. Now, this is the good news. You could build $1 million business for $25,000 to get it up and running and started. Because once you get it up and running and started and you start making money, then the money coming in funds to future growth. But, because it's going to be very hard going forward in the future to start a business with no money and ramp that business up to millions of dollars. That's going to be very, very hard. You can start with no money and you could probably build a 100K business, 150, maybe 250K, flipping or something like that. But you're going to need real money to invest in real business, to invest in real assets going forward. And the party's about to be over on so many things. But go ahead and get the money management, the basics of finance and wealth development at Hustlers Kung Fu University, and start prepping yourself and getting out of these bad habits that you have picked up of being an American. Because we got a lot of bad habits, a lot of them. I mean, I used to be one of the biggest offenders. I used to go to pawn shops all the time. I've done the payday loan. I've done the title loan because I did not know how to manage my money. And with me having 3 jobs, full-time job, part-time job, and a per diem job, I had plenty of cash flow, but I did not have the knowledge how to stack that cash. Chris Monroe, because the government was on the hook. Richard Mayfield, I got a different plan for you. This is what you do, Richard. You go ahead, you create yourself a hustle that makes $1,000 to $3,000 a month. Then take half that money and accelerate your student loan payments. Get that stuff done quick as possible so it ain't dogging you. Well, for some things, it's worth getting into debt. For some things. If you could take money, leverage, go over here and buy this product, and you can sell that product in 30 days, pay the loan back, put money in your pocket, that's good debt. But one of the problems is we have a lot of people out here getting business credit, getting high credit card limits, who don't know what to do with the money. So they'll go out, make a bad buy, then now they got to pay all this debt back, and they're not making any money. Oh, the tiny home movement is on crack. Van life movement is growing. All this stuff is based upon economics. You got people living in a Sprinter van, an old custom van, because they can't make enough money to live the way they want to. Eric Williams, all these white guys I know doing wholesaling come from families of realtors and had their license. I had my license because I can't manage my family's members' properties without it. The game is changing, man. Tiny home, trailer parks. Oh, Marcus Colston, don't think, no, it's going to spread. I, Carver, went to college, MBA, have no student loan debt. The military paid. I paid 25%. I know every person isn't cut out for college or the military, but afforded me to pay off my house, car, in college. Why recessions happens? They're manufactured. Recessions happen so rich folks can extract more value out of the economy. Watch this video about boom and bust by Ray Dalio. He breaks it down. That would be fraud. You see, when you borrow money for a specific purpose, if you don't use that money for that purpose, that could be construed as fraud. Wow, if you could finagle a $100K card, you should be able to start a business. I tell you, man, they started me off with a $10,000 limit, and I used it for the storage auctions, and with 6 months, that sucker was up to 100K. No PG. Those were great days, but they gone. Because I remember when the recession hit, I go to the mail one day and I was like, I see this card. This card has been discontinued. Since you have no balance, goodbye. Have a nice life. I was like, dang. My homeboy's dad paid his credit card bills. My dad didn't buy me a box of gum. Man. Rolo Beats, do you think it's over for wholesalers flipping real estate? I think it's the beginning for it about to be over. It's the beginning of the end. Yo, your boy Rich took my kids yesterday for the first day. I could see all the debt on their faces, especially the teachers and all the happy-go-lucky people that thought college was the right way. Well, for a long time, college was the right way. College worked. Then it stopped working. Yeah, Douglas Jones, recessions are manufactured. This is not a natural occurrence. Eric Williams, these guys are following the steps and getting these high credit card, multiple 20K cards, limits because of the internet, but don't know what to do with their vacations. And this is what I keep telling people. Don't get business credit if you don't know what to do with the money and you don't have any experience. You are better off learning reselling, learning how to make money, making mistakes with your money before you go out and borrow other people's money. Because I'm going to tell you, with these business credit cards, they come after you. It ain't like a consumer credit card where you don't pay and they just send you. No. They will sue you. They will come for you. I live 6 minutes from Illustores in St. Louis. The law change hurt a lot of wholesalers. Stunting season's about to be over. Hold on a second. All right. Here it is. Here, you can watch all of them, how the economic machines works, market cycles, financial crisis, and populism. He's got a lot of good information out here, but I think this is the one I was talking about. Yep. Because these things happen on schedule. And one of the reasons that we haven't had a recession in a long time is that the economy has been propped up. So you go ahead and check that out. Just Google Ray Dalio boom and bust videos, and you will get these. The boom and bust cycle. Recessions are manufactured, man. And a lot of people don't know that. They think they just happen. They don't. And this is how these signals are so good. Amex will sue you pretty much. And Amex will be the first one to cram down your limits too. Capital One will sue you also. They ain't playing. And see, this is something else that you got to understand about business credit. When you go get a business credit loan or line of credit, on the loan application, they're going to ask you, what are you getting this for? And in the loan application, they will tell you using these credit cards or these funding sources for anything other than business purposes will void the contract, which means you can't bankrupt out of it. This is why they sue people, because they know a lot of people did something funny with the money. So they go into court and prove that you did not use these monies for business purposes, therefore committing fraud. You can't bankrupt out of it, and they will dog you and take your money for the rest of your life. So be very careful with business credit. And this is something that people don't understand. You know, to go to the bank and say, hey, I want a loan for one thing, then take the money and do this other thing. That's fraud all day long. And because, you know, so many people do it, and this is why these companies come after folks, because they get you in court and find out, like, what did you use the money for? Did you buy some hard assets? What happened? And like, well, we went to a vacation and I got some Louis and some Prada. I'm going to put something together this week. Well, hopefully this week and next week. Linfield. Oh, YouTube's doing all kinds of extra stuff now. But understand, you're going to have to start learning how to manage your money properly and appropriately. And if you got a beer budget, you drinking beer. You know, it's going to be hard to have a beer budget and be drinking champagne. There's a statute of limitations for consumer debt. Let me tell you how the system works. If you go ahead and get a loan, and that's consumer debt, business debt is totally different. And you go ahead and they find out that you committed fraud in getting these loan products, you can't bankrupt out of it, and there is no statute of limitations. Spencer Card, what about using personal debt to fund the business? Can you bankrupt out of that? Does the holding company protect the resulting business? If you use personal credit cards, yeah. There's all kinds of stuff you can do. I don't know what's going on with the comments. And like, you know, when I get ready to do my real estate thing, you know, I will take y'all along the journey. But as for courses and training, that's going to be way up there, and it's going to be for people with the money to duplicate what I'm doing. But once again, you got to understand that the typical American is indoctrinated into many bad money habits. Like, let's take saving income. You're told you should save 10 to 15%. You should be saving 50 to 75%. Yeah, that's going to move the needle. That's going to make a big difference in your life. 10, 15%, you know, over 40, 50 years, that's 40, 50 years. But if you're saving 50%, you can do it in 10. You could do in 10 years what it's going to take someone else to do 40, 50 years, saving 10, 15%. So this is some of the stuff I talk about in the money management course. So you got to really, really prepare yourself and position yourself. Because one of the reasons that you don't hear a lot of this true stuff that happens to business owners is you have a lot of content creators who are not real business owners, who are just regurgitating or reading books and doing videos. They've never been through anything. Cosmic wisdom, you're right. Some people in my family have the nerve to say, I save too much. No, what do you mean you save too much? And another thing is you got to be careful who you let know about your financial habits, because my girl was shocked at the money I had in the bank after my heart attack. She was shocked. She's like, I didn't know you were rolling like that. And we live together. One of the things is what I have discovered is money changes people's perceptions of you. And if you want to remain cool, keep your cards close to your vest. I mean, I've lost friends because I started making money. The wars are required to keep the U.S. on top. The military is our number one asset. And this is why I don't think that Bitcoin and any of this up to cryptocurrency is going to do what they wanted to do. Tank Johnson, should I still be contributing 10% to my 401k? Tank, go ahead and get the money management course. A 401k with a match is like a prison sentence. It keeps you locked into low expectations. Because let's just say you went ahead and got yourself a good index fund and you were putting 50% of your income into that. That will outperform that 401k instantly. You will start to see gains. You start to see $50,000 this year, next year. Oh man, I'm at 120. Oh, next year I'm 180. You will see real growth and real appreciation because you need money. This is why I'm not on that Bitcoin tip. Bitcoin does not provide cash. You have to acquire the Bitcoin. You have to keep putting money into it. Then you have to sell it to realize any gains. That's why Bitcoin does not function as a business to me. Could I purchase land with the trucking company credit card? Is that a business purpose? Shelly Jones, I agree. The fix is in already. It's already been said. Not many here in the pictures. Already been said, if I don't get reelected, crash going down. I get back in. We wait 2 years before we drop the bomb. He's been saying a lot of stuff, and he's been getting on a lot of people's nerves. Pretty much 401k is dead money because, like, what I take you through the money management course is how to get on a different trajectory, because something I'm going to do, and I'm going to make this part of the art of holding, is advanced money management tactics. Because once your income gets to a certain level, a 401k doesn't do shit for me. I mean, because the most I could put in there is, even a SEP, like I could put in there 25% of my income, but even at that point, when you make a lot of money, these investment products don't really work well for you. And this is why you have to do it a la Grant Cardone Capital, and create your own wealth building assets. This is what I'm doing with real estate. Take the money from over here, invest it in real estate, get a cash return every month. I can't do that with any of these other investments, because essentially to get like dividend paying stock, you know how much stock like Bank of America pays a dividend? I would have to have $7 million worth of Bank of America's dividend paying stock to get 6 figures. If I took that same 7 million and put it in real estate, I would get 7 figures back. Same money, different returns. Expat Crypto, Financial Samurai blog has a great article on stealth wealth, not telling others about your wealth. Pretty much, you got to put in way more than 10%. Crypto anything, but you made money from Bitcoin. But I no longer have any Bitcoin. I made way more money from my business. I make more money from my business every day of the week. I make money from my business. So let's say I make money 7 days a week from my business, or I buy some Bitcoin, then sell it and make money one time. You cannot convince me that it's an equivalent argument or that's an equivalent investment. You can't. Money every day, or buy and hold and sell the Bitcoin to make money one time. The Bitcoin does not provide recurring cash. Bitcoin doesn't provide the monthly check. It's an inefficient investment. People are like, oh, Bitcoin. I had some fool on my page talking about get rid of those dollars because I had posted a picture of the money that I was putting into my capital accounts. And I was like, fuck Bitcoin. Yep, I said that. Because Bitcoin, you can't convince me, someone who's been making 7 figures for years, that I should take my 7 figures and throw it off here on some Bitcoin. You can't convince me that that's a good investment. And here's something else too. Everybody that's on the Bitcoin tip is po. Most of these folks are po. You got a few whales who spent millions of dollars on Bitcoin and they cornered the market, but the majority of the people have stars in their eyes. Like, I'm gonna give me some Bitcoin. I'm gonna become a Bitcoin millionaire. I'm gonna get me the Bitcoin Lambo. We're gonna take down the government. We ain't gonna pay no taxes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. At the end of the day, they're still poor. They still don't have cars that are paid off. They don't live in the $1 million neighborhood. So that's the conversation with Bitcoin. Next time Bitcoin goes over 11K, I'm selling all mine. Richard Mayfield, my 401k was moving at 8.3%. Plus, I like the loans I used to flip some money. In my opinion, it all depends on how the employer sets it up. Building a business is hustling. Definitely. I don't know if we're going to start World War III. You can't mine for Bitcoin when you're in the back. Be real. Robert Kiyosaki and Grant Cardone said only poor people have 401ks. Rich people have their money working for them. Bitcoin is like the lottery. So you got that element going because, you know, I have the Bitcoin people come from me. And last year I made several accurate predictions about Bitcoin. And I even made a few this year that it was going to crash again, and it did. What would you rather have? A business that pays you cash money every week, if not every day, every few weeks, or every month, or an investment that you got to keep money putting in and hope and pray that the whales don't screw you? Now, that's why I sold mine. I didn't want to be in that. Pretty much be real. And a lot of folks thought I was foolish for selling when I did. I actually thought I was going to leave about $4 or $5 grand on the table. But I was like, it can't keep doing this. Black Caesar, since Jesus failed a lot of people, they now need something new to believe in, hence the Bitcoin God. Good Lord. Transparent, can you use your business credit card to buy a vehicle using in business? Yeah. J. McPherson, Glenn, ever think about wholesale real estate is scalable? I profited over $200K in the last 8 months. I'm not going to be a wholesaler. I'm going to be a hard money investor because I have a unique situation. I have the ability to generate a high income and invest this in real estate. I'm not going to get into wholesaling because, one, I really want to see it and I want to own it. I make Bitcoin money doing Uber, and that's not a lot of money. Tyler Examiner 2-3. I'm going to do single family homes. What did I do for healthcare? I worked in the lab. That was so long ago. I have been officially self-employed or a business owner longer than I ever had a job. So we don't even go back to those days. We don't even talk about those days. But once again, you need to go ahead and position yourself to start a small business and get yourself some consistent cash flow. Go ahead. Let me put this out here. Go ahead and get this course, Money Management, the Basics of Finance and Wealth Development, so you can clean up a lot of these bad money habits that you have. Like, you're making $100K a year, you should not have a car note. People just got some bad money management habits. If you make $100K and you don't have $25,000 in the bank emergency room fund, you hustling backwards. You got people with very good incomes who still doing stupid stuff. Like Dominic Wilkins was making $3 million a year, had several car loans, had several house notes, and his wife came in and cleaned that all up and started kicking people out of these houses and turning these cars back in. You're making $3 million a year, and this was when the most expensive car was like $25K. Why are you financing cars? Why are you financing houses? See, a lot of people don't understand how money works and what you should do with money. You should not be financing. You and your wife make $300K a year. You shouldn't be financing nothing. And your mortgage shouldn't be that long. Your mortgage might be five or 6 years or something like that, because you're making a lot of money. Because I knew of a couple who were just some kids. He went to med school. She was a chemist. And between both of them, they were both doing six figures. And we were just talking, and it's like, yeah, the checking account just keep growing. Because they weren't spending the money. They had like $280,000 in the checking account. Just from because they didn't have a high consumption lifestyle. So money was automatically stacking. And this is something I want to tell people. Unless you are a crackhead, because when I made that money from JDA, when I was selling the office money just stacked. The average person doesn't have all these ridiculous high consumption spending habits. So once you go ahead and get your money management skills down, then you start making more money. It's going to stack, it's going to stack, going to stack. So be sure to go to Hustlers Kung Fu Life Skills and get the money management course, because it's going to change your life. And that's what we do here. We change lives at Hustlers Kung Fu. Let's see. Christian Emerson, Bitcoin is like the new gold rush of the 1840s, except no one's really getting ultra wealthy from it. What do you mean you mail health insurance? My health insurance is like $380 a month. You can buy that shit. You go out and buy yourself a policy, man. You can get several policies for $300 to $500 a piece. And it's tax deductible. Chris Monroe, wholesaling is just a stepping stone. I did 16 deals in 1 year, but that is working. Ownership is better. It's not. The thing with wholesaling is you have to keep finding deals as taxed as ordinary income, and you lose the benefits of appreciation. Rod for real estate. I mean, that's it. We've been brainwashed by the media to follow poor habits while I've been thinking about it. Because let's talk about health insurance. All right, you got a job. You got your job for your health insurance. If you start making $500,000 a year, the cost of your health insurance policy will be nothing. You start making $250, it will be nothing because you got people out here. Because when I was working, I was paying $400 a month for my family coverage plan at Northside. You know, so you work a $30,000 a year job so you can have free health care versus going out and making $100K and paying for it yourself. Stupid human tricks. There's plenty of places where you can buy health insurance. Just like the California money people who really make money were selling shovels. To tell you, it's the mine equipment manufacturers, Bitman and Samsung. Hey, you got these people with these mining rigs. They're going crazy. But once again, go ahead and get the money management course. Put yourself in a position to get rich. And once you get rich, then you can become wealthy. Going from poor to wealthy is very, very hard. But going from poor to rich, then to wealthy makes it easier. So with that, I will see you guys later.